I do, my work is a little more organic. I like to add wood, so I just got this out of the kiln this morning, but it's gonna have a piece of wood as a handle, probably. A little, so lift it up. What am I supposed to say about my pot? Or-
If you have any
We're not
questions,
doing questions? Okay, so if it, because of the style it is, it fits okay. Except I tend to like make the inside too small regularly, even though I use the two-sided calipers. So I'm not sure what's happening
So
there.
my experience with those is they're horrible.
Oh, is that why?
Yeah.
It's the calipers, I can blame it on the
I
calipers.
mean, as far as I'm concerned, I've tried using, people say they love them, and I've tried, I can't get lids to fit.
Yeah, are yours too small also? Is that what happens, or just you can't?
It's been years, but they didn't work.
Okay, all right.
They're not precise enough to me,
Yeah, okay.
right? So if you're using my calipers,
I should meant to bring them, yeah, even, but,
this is what I was using last. I mean, a
Yeah.
kind of a standard caliper set, you get a really clean point, and
Yeah.
the way that those are curved kind of around to the point, to me, doesn't give me the same precision.
when can you hold those up? Thanks.
So that's the one you use as opposed to the ones that, with the two sides?
Oh,
And you use those, not like a lid master or something like that?
what's the?
Okay, those are better for you?
For me, you know, some of this is, I've been making pots for 50 years, so in
Yeah.
some ways I'm like old school. This is the tools that we had 50 years ago.
Yeah,
Like I use wooden ribs. I don't like metal ribs.
yeah.
Even though, you know, people like that I can bend it, I like that I can do this. I do all that with the flat wooden rib, and I like the feel of wood in my hand.
Yeah,
You know? But it wasn't an option then.
yeah, that's true.
So, okay, so, so one question is, with that pot and that lid, what's the function of the flange?
Oh, maybe it doesn't need one, I don't know, yeah, I was just playing around to get ready for this.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's happened to me in other ones, I guess to hold it, maybe I think it holds it in place more, but maybe because it's flat on
But
top.
because
it
it's
doesn't
sitting
need
in a galley,
that. Doesn't need that.
doesn't really need the flange.
Some shapes though, it would keep it from
Mhm.
moving even with the galley though, right?
Mm-mm.
Never?
The only thing I'm aware of is a teapot. If
Yeah,
you're-
same thing with
If you're
teapots.
making the galley tight enough so that when you pour it,
Mm.
it catches.
See, I went from teapots to these, that's why. Yeah, okay.
But it's the, you know, the form and function thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like if it's got a form, it should have a function.
Okay.
And I was working with someone earlier this week about with teapots, and his teapots mostly have galleries like that. They've all got flanges, and not one out of a dozen that we looked at, if you move the lid, did the flange ever touch the pot? So you don't need the flange if you're gonna just depend on it being inside of the galley. And your teapot's designed with a side handle, and most people put their finger on top of the lid when they're pouring a side handle teapot. It's like get rid of the flange, or learn how to make it so that it's you know, serving a function. Yeah. Thanks. Do you want to tell us something about yourself as a potter?
Well,
Like a 5 minute or less?
no, I'm talking that long, don't worry. So I work at Ventura County Pottery and I teach and do workshops there, so that's fun. And I'm probably more on the end of hobbyist than, you know, I don't use it to make a living, I just have fun doing it. And yeah, I like to add other materials, like do basket weaving on them or add pieces of wood. And to me, it's a connection to the earth, not just having my hands in the clay, but also the way they look. I like them when they look organic and earthy, and yeah.
How will you attach the wood to that? Will you bore a hole?
Probably epoxy or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do you
I haven't found the wood yet, huh?
As a hobbyist, do you think you'd ever want to sell at the gallery in the space?
Maybe, yeah, but I'm gonna sell in June. I'm getting ready for that. Cause the thing is, I have salt building up, and you know, I have to do something with it.
You should remember.
Yeah. So, yeah.
We're just doing some surveys, I was just curious.
So, Ojai Sale is a good event.
Yeah.
It's
I've
a
been to
really good
it.
event.
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe, yeah.
And
I
the
needed to get in touch. He told me to get in touch with the person, and I haven't.
And the group's fun.
Yeah.
And the
No, I know a lot of the people from Well, I took classes at the Ojai Pottery Studio too.
There's a lot of people, yeah.
Yeah, I
Drew.
met a lot of people there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Drew's there.
Is that the name of the Ojai Pottery? Oh, that's
Yeah.
And the registration for OI's open.
She's already signed up.
Huh?
Right, you're
Have you
already
signed
signed
I've
up.
already signed up, yeah.
Okay, thanks.
All right.
Mhm.
Oh, I'm Terry Wilson, and I didn't bring anything today. I wanted to lurk and learn. The only lidded thing I've ever really made was when I first started selling stuff at the gallery. I had a whole little series of things made out of leaves, and I had one of those pieces was a sugar bowl, so that involved a lid with a little thing for the spoon to go in, and it was all hand built, and so it had a little gallery on it to hold the lid, but I don't have any of those. I didn't have any to bring to show, so sorry. No show and tell for
So
me.
you're 5 minute or less bio for
Um,
people that don't know you.
Well, oh yeah, okay. So I live in Ventura, and I joined the guild about, I don't know, 5 years ago or so, and got back into pottery from college. So I had this big gap, and so I started doing pottery again, and got into the gallery with my little leafy things, and then started learning. I mean, college was a long time ago, and I mostly hand built then. So I started learning to throw, and my interest is in color and pattern, and if you look at my display at the gallery, it's got a lot of different things, and some say that's bad, some say that's good, and some say, good thing you didn't tell that to Nordstrom, you know, the department store. So anyway, that's the way I like to do, something captures my interest and I like to explore it. So I do a lot of planters as well, because I'm a gardener. But mostly I like things that either have some kind of texture or pattern going on, or something with color and pattern, and so that's kind of, I do jewelry also, and I incorporate that with clay and silversmithing. I do the website with the guild.
And a lot of other.
Yeah,
And plumbing, yes.
yeah.
Well, so do a lot of people, yeah. I'm one of the people that
Do things that other
shouldn't
people
raise my
can't
hand
do.
as much as I should do.
Do
But
a lot
glad
of
you
things
do.
that other people can't do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks.
I'm up. Just my little teapot, and I use a lid master, and it works pretty good. I think I have the same problem. Sometimes they're a little more loose than I'd like. But then the other day I threw one, and it worked great until I glazed it. And then it's not there yet. And so I was dealing with that
Did you glaze it?
16th of an inch or whatever.
Did you
So
glaze it, did you fire it separately or on it?
I fired it separate.
Yeah, that's-
Yeah. But I've done some together and welded them shut a number of times, so I just check with that. I'm gonna fire them separately, and so that's what I did, but you run the risk,
Right.
you know.
But see, that's a cone 5 problem. The cone 10, you
Oh,
can't
really?
fire them separately. The clay gets so soft, any variation in your shelves, the pots warp, the lids warp.
They won't fit, huh? Oh, okay, because when I was taking the class and it was all cone 10, yeah, they said fire it together, and so we did. And I did have one that welded, and then the guy tapped it just right, but I don't have that. I had one welded on the 10. I didn't tap it just right. So that one
Usually
is
welded, they usually just very slightly flux between the two clay surfaces and a little tapping, yeah,
That one worked, yeah.
standard.
But then this is my lid, I put a flange on it, hoping for the tip, you know, and then I try to get the handle so that you can catch it. So that's my piece.
So if you tip your lid,
If I tip it without, I think it still stays.
no, I mean just tip it in your hand, just by hand tip it.
Oh.
Tip the lid.
Like this?
No, hold the pot and just move the lid.
No?
My words aren't coming out.
Oh.
So what you want is when you move the lid,
Uh-huh.
this is gonna catch.
Oh, okay.
And keep it from.
So,
opening.
a little closer.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Or
Put a little thing
you
on
can
it.
put a little tab on the bottom that helps to make it bigger, it'll catch.
When you tip, yeah.
What's your bio, your little bio?
My bio?
Yeah.
I'm a genuine backyard potter and started late in life. Had very minimal art training when I was really young, or classes, but I did have a clay class in late high school and never forgot it. And when I was in college, I had to walk by the art classroom and they had a window on the ceramics there. And I bought a piece from one of them, and I still have it to this day. And I always thought I wanted to do that. And finally, I got a chance about 11 years ago, and really had a ball with it. And must say, you folks here have made a big difference because you've been so helpful and welcoming. It's been great, and I've been continuing to take classes, and the guild offers a lot of opportunities to learn, so that's been great for me. But I have an extensive studio in my backyard, a little wheel, a little tiny kiln, and one cabinet. And that's my operation.
Good for you,
Yeah, right.
That's all you need.
Yeah. I worked for about 4 years under 2 like RV canopies in an outdoors where it rained or windy, just lowered the flaps, extension cords running all over the place.
I tried the canopy, but the winds come through and tear it apart, or the sun bakes it. And so I said, forget it. And I got barbecue covers for the 2 things, and I called it a day.
Yeah. Thank you.
So I'm Dina, and I started potting very young. My mother had a studio at home. And I potted until I was about 18, 19, and then I went off to college. Didn't do a lot, but when I would go home, I would grow a few things, you know. And I was actually going to go to, I was quasi set up to go to Chenard's in the late 60s. And Ralph Basara was teaching there. Ralph Basara, is that ring a bell? Yeah, in the late 60s. And maybe even Otto and Vivica, I'm not sure. They may have been gone when Ralph came, I'm not sure. And it didn't happen. Some other things happened, and I didn't end up going to Chenard's. But then in about 2010, I began potting again. And I worked with Frank in Ojai. I was working with Frank in Ojai. I was coming to VC, and I was going to adult education in Santa Barbara. So it was like full-time school.
Yeah.
And then Frank's class, you take the class, but you can use the studio most of the week. So that was all I was doing. So finally I got a wheel and moved a few times, and now I'm in probably a permanent place, and I have an 8x10 greenhouse, and I have my wheel and shelves and tables for doing glazing and wedging and stuff outside. And my kiln, I have a kiln, and I cover it with a barbecue. And I have some friends that come over. I have kind of a little potting circle, and people that come over and pot, and we glaze together and do that. So we're all a backyard potter. I don't sell because I'm almost at the point where I can't get myself and all my stuff in the pop-up tent to a show to sell. It's too hard for me now. So I'm stocking up a lot of pottery. I'm not sure what to do with it.
That's why we said that's right. Shut it down.
20 crates in the greenhouse. So that's what I'm doing. I live in Ventura. I've been here about 10 years. And I live in a flat behind my son's house, a grand flat. I'll probably stay there a long time, hopefully. I'm retired. I just retired in November. And I'm kind of doing good, doing a lot of pottery, getting more involved. You know, I really only started getting involved in the guild that much, and thinking about it, I'm realizing as I'm saying it, you know, different jobs, different situations that I had that took my energy for work, starting at about 21, fell away. I sold some things, some business stuff, and I let go of my main business at the end of November. So that's probably why I'm doing more in the guild. I didn't really realize it. I said, oh, I'm just getting involved in the guild, and I didn't know why exactly, but as I'm talking, I'm realizing I have time. I have time now, that's why, you know. So, yeah, I have a son, he's grown, has 4 kids, has a grandson. Couldn't believe it. Yeah, so.
Tell us about your pot.
My pot. It's the only one I had. I had some small ones, but they're sold, they're gone. It's cone 5, float blue, and you know, it's not a bad fit. I
I'd
don't.
say it's a bad fit.
You what?
I'd say it's a bad fit.
Okay, that. See, I don't really know that much about them. I mean, I don't know. I use the caliper thing with the 2 ends, and it works. You know, it holds the coolant in the refrigerator and you know in the oven, and I'm sure I can do better. I'd like to do better. That's why I'm here.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Thanks.
So I started pottery probably 35 years ago as a stress release from, I was an entrepreneur and I had small kids, and someone said, you need to take a pottery class. And I was never like an artist, I was a business person. And so as soon as I started taking it, I was like, oh my God, I love this. Because I realized I'm kinesthetic. And so I started realizing just by touching it. So I took classes for quite a while, and so just as a hobby, and I had a little garage with a little back room, and my husband set me up with a little table, and so that's all I had was a little table, and I would make stuff at home and bring it to the class to fire it back and forth, and then we sold our business, and we had a back house, and David said, why don't I make this into a studio for you, you can teach. And I was like, I have never taught, I don't teach. But I said yes. And so then I took lots and lots and lots of workshops to learn so I could teach. So, and then I did that for years. So for 20 years I taught at this little back house, and it started out with 1 student, and then I had tons of students and summer camp and so forth. So from there we moved up to Ventura recently, and I didn't want to teach anymore. I was kind of burnt out after 20 years, and I was in the gallery before when I was still in Sherman Oaks, but then I got out for various reasons, but then I joined again. And so anyway, so this pot is from a workshop, because I took a lot of workshops. So this was at Aardvark, and most of my students, the gals, were kind of intimidated by the wheel. So these were pinch pots that we made, and then these little, and then this teacher loved these cute little tops. It was kind of a Japanese.
That top was kind of made.
This is only made. This is iron oxide, red iron oxide. This one, yeah, just 2 little pieces. You know, a piece there. So this was like a workshop, and then this other one I bought. I went to. I used to go to Sika all the time, and I saw a pot, and I was like, I'm gonna copy that because I really liked it. So I threw this part, and I think I hand built this top part, because you see the slab in the inside, and it's kind of. I mean, if I press down, it's there. So it's pretty. Yeah. So I was always like learning something, and then I had to dumb it down so that I could teach it. So whenever I was teaching, I mean, it's challenging when you're teaching because you're not doing it for yourself. So this has been such a gift to have to just do my own stuff. I love it. I don't have to think about teaching someone and doing all that. So.
Do you want to tell them about your studio?
She has an amazing studio.
My husband did a beautiful
I
job
know.
in the studio.
You know, I don't know what to say. I brought everything up from my like a 2-car garage with on the top of a hill.
And a backyard patio party.
Yeah, it's really nice. I don't go anywhere too often, just certain places.
The world and the animals compete.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Birds are driving us crazy now.
Her husband's an amazing supporter of her art.
Yes, he's very.
In every way.
He fixes everything.
Yeah.
Now he's gonna have to fix this now.
I mean, I'm sure you would have had a beautiful studio without him, but man,
No,
he's such a perfectionist and
perfectionist, and whenever I, yes, so, yeah. And now he's a gardener. He's retired too, so he just gardens.
Yeah.
And I do a lot of the marketing and publicity for the guild. So anyone that's here that needs to, does any writing or graphic design, I'm in dire need of someone to help me, because I've lost a lot of people.
Yeah. So you said what you do with the guild. We'll do that, let people know so people know. So, Karen?
Well, I have to admit, I did forget my pot. I had it all packed up in a bag, and then, I don't know, I just left it there. So I'm sorry, I apologize. But I have the same problem, I think, as we all do. I hate my calipers. You know, I have the ones that are two-sided as well. And I find them, like you were saying, I find them like very frustrating because they just don't seem to work properly. So my lids have a tendency to be a little loose as well.
We're working on that.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure we will. And as far as my Potters career is, I started in Mopa College. When my youngest son went off to college, then I decided, okay, that's it. I'm going to do something too, and so I started taking all kinds of classes at Mopa College. And then I got stuck on being a potter. I just loved the feel of the clay and the, just the whole dirtiness of it. So I just I like to garden, I like to get dirty, and I do get dirty when I'm in the studio. I was there for Kirk Aiken. I don't know if anybody remembers Kirk Aiken. He was my teacher at Mopa College. He was the head of the department at that time. He was really strict. And we learned a lot. We learned a lot about doing proper work and, being careful with our work. So I was there for a long time. I learned to fire the kilns, and we had, the big car kilns at Mopa College at that time. They were huge. They would hold like 400 pieces of pottery in one fire, in gas fire. Content. Used to make all our own glazes, and in those days, I guess money wasn't an object because we could make any glaze we wanted to. If we wanted, anything, we just go and make it. And I think we had more glazes at Mopa College than any of the other colleges around. So, yeah, it was just a lot of fun.
And you're here?
Now I'm here.
Wow.
And now I'm potting in my backyard. I have a little 8x6 tough shed that I got a few years ago, and I love it. It's my little home from home. Yeah. It's tiny, only I fit in it, and I love that because nobody else will come and say, "Want to one company? No, thank you." So, yeah, that's me.
Yeah, thanks.
I'm Lori, I live in Camarillo. I took pottery like John when I was in junior high and high school and really loved it, but then afterwards had to work and got away from that. When my oldest son Max was in high school, he had a requirement in order to apply to University of California campuses, you had to have a year of art. And with all of his sports and everything else, he couldn't fit any of that into his schedule. So we went to Ventura College. I said, I'll take a class with you. And he didn't know which one to take, and I said, I know which one to take. So we took a ceramics class from Jeannie,
Oh,
and he finished his semester at the junior college, counts for a year of high school. So after he was done with his semester, he went on, and I kept taking for the next few years. And then I got really busy for a while. We used to own an aerospace manufacturing business just a few blocks from here. And so when I was busy doing that, I kind of got away from things. But then I decided to go back to the guild meetings and ran into Jeannie, and at that point she said, oh, I'm teaching over in Simi Valley at the senior center, so I started going back there. So I've been doing this on and off. Actually, when I was at Ventura College, they had a student show, and I put one of my pieces in there, and that's how I ended up in the Potters Guild. I won a year's membership for the piece that I put in that show. So that's how I ended up, and that was like 2006. So on and off throughout the years, I've been active, been not active. Hopefully will remain more active.
It's really the only concrete evidence we have of an award at any show that we used to donate to.
yeah,
Result.
I'm glad that we got.
Me too.
It's-
Me too.
It's
Yeah.
better than money though. You
Yeah.
see, that's what I was thinking.
I also got $150.
Oh, you did?
I got both, but that's how I ended up in the guild, and I've been a member ever since. So it was great. Yeah, it was great to be introduced to the guild that way. Right now I don't have, everything at my house is all over the place, in the garage, out on my patio, it's everywhere. We're getting 2 tough sheds, not for me to work in, but to put everything in our garage in the tough sheds, so I can have the garage.
Oh,
I have a kiln there, I have the wheel. I'm a hand builder, but I've been starting to practice on the wheel, and I want to be able to ultimately be able to do that and incorporate some wheel throwing stuff with the hand building. I want to be able to do both. So I'm here basically because most of what I make is just hand built stuff with flanges. And I want to learn more about how to make lids, so that when I actually learn how to throw and can make something, that maybe I can make a lidded vessel. So yeah, this is all just hand built stuff. Most of my stuff just has the flanges on it, and that works for whatever it is. But yeah, they don't fit very well either. So, that's it.
Yeah, it's harder with hand building.
It is. It is. Because you don't have a way just to, it's
Just well, the measurables.
it's separate, and making it separately.
Yeah, 90% of what I make today is thrown, but in past years I've been lots of constructed hand built things
Yeah.
and with it.
It is hard, yeah. Most of what I make is geometric in nature. This is, I went through a period where I was making rounder things, but, so a lot of my stuff is square, triangular, and that also presents a problem with the lids. So, hoping to learn something.
Yeah, templates.
Yeah.
But with freeform hand building, you've got a freeform hole that you're
Yes.
trying to fit
Yes,
a lid or a flange to.
Yeah.
It's, different.
yeah, and like you said, if you have that hole and you have a flange, you're trying to make it so that it fits in there, so that if you add glaze on the bottom piece, that it'll fit once you have the glaze.
Yeah, I'm worried about that because I don't glaze them.
Yeah, well, it's like you said, cone 10, you kind of have to
Yeah.
have them together. I fire everything separately, so that I can have glaze on the bottom, but it's 5/6, not 10.
With my hand-built sugar jars, sugar bowls, it was a little dicey with that, but there was also a salt and pepper shaker. So in a similar way, I had to make the hole for the plug to go in, and that's kind of like fitting that lid.
Yeah.
I guess it's exactly like
Same.
fitting it, except you're not making the lid. You have to make it work with the stoppers that you have. Yeah, it's tricky.
Stacy.
I'm in.
Well, first let me just say, so Lori's also active in the She's
Yes.
not like an official officer of anything,
Yeah,
but she
but she
is,
works hard.
but she works hard. She's been a great resource in us moving to QuickBooks. She's working on getting the 501c3 together after we talked to a lawyer, and other random
Miscellaneous.
things.
I'm best at working in the background and not taking on leadership roles,
Yeah.
but I'm good at working in the background
Yes, she is.
and just looking at something as an umbrella and seeing where things might fall through the cracks.
We appreciate
We appreciate it. That's
A lot.
a needed
Very
service.
needed, yes.
My pleasure.
Okay, also, jumping back though,
Stacy.
FOS started and we didn't.
Well, Stacy, you want to finish with Stacy? No?
We're gonna go backwards for a minute, just in terms of, we were talking about guild roles, so FOS was instrumental in the implementation of the team service program with the guild.
Nobody could have
Yeah.
done it.
And we're in our third year now, and it was, when we decided to do it, we knew it was like a huge cultural change to an organization with a 70-year history and with like at least a good 10-year history in its kind of general current form. And we had no idea how rocky it would be, but by the end of the first year, it was like, oh, this is just how we do things now. And now it's like, of course we do it like this.
Thank you.
And
It was a team behind the whole getting there, you know, was.
The driver.
You were the driver. Huge.
And other things. She and Terry and I are, the technology committee for the guild. And there are many other things.
Program and workshops.
Programs.
Yeah.
Yeah, the monthly programs. She
Yeah,
does.
so.
FOS moved us from having in-person programs with people within 50 to 100 miles of here maximum. COVID hit and we had to go to Zoom. And all of a sudden, she was getting people from like all over the country, and New Zealand once,
Mexico.
and
Mexico.
Mexico.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
And somewhere back east,
Mm.
so.
So we, like, from being, this was our world, all of a sudden the world is our world in terms of programs. And that's,
Well, and the really exciting thing that you all can get a heads up on in the newsletter that comes out in May, ICANN, so the International Ceramic Artists Network, is going to give the guild 40% off, any guild member 40% off membership in their guild. So that's a
do we get
huge.
a refund or?
No, we have a promo code that we can go in and apply. So it's going to take it from about $140 down to 75 or something like that. So it's a pretty cool
I'm
thing.
already a member, so I cancel everything.
Well, maybe you can join and use it now. It's good for till the end. It'll be good till the end of June. So just tell them to add it on. But I mean, I think it's a great opportunity. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Yeah, it is.
We'll see.
So, thank you all.
Well, we didn't,
What about
we didn't
Stacy?
hear
Oh,
from-
Stacy, I'm
we didn't
sorry.
hear from FOS
We
either
did at
about
the
what she
beginning.
does.
Well, she didn't
Pottery.
bring, oh, well, do you wanna, talk about your pottery history.
So, yeah, I was trying to think. So I think I've been potting for about 8 years. I remember when I was in graduate school, I wound up going by the student union where people were in there doing ceramics, thinking, gee, that would be a fun thing to do sometime. And then when I settled back here in California, it was like, this is like way too expensive. There's no way I can afford to do this. So I actually wound up getting involved because I needed an alternative. I needed respite from care that I was providing to my parents out of state. So I actually started taking classes in North Carolina. And when I came home, it was like, okay, well, where can I land? So I wound up at the Ojai Lake Pottery School, met Wynn, and did that for a while. And then somebody said, oh, it's really cheap at Ventura College. So I wandered over to Ventura College. So that's sort of my whatever of about 8 years. I have a wheel, and I have a slab roller, and I have a nice hand building table. It's outside or sort of on the fringe of my garage. Don't have a kiln, so when I fire off season, I'm begging space in somebody's kiln. My love is atmospheric firing, and I love doing wood firing and gas soda firing. So most of what you see of my work will be from sort of that genre. I like focus on that during the year, fire once a year, and then that's what I got. But that's my love. And I've now seen somebody with a in their backyard wood fire kiln built with fire bricks and a fan, and I'm gonna explore that and see if that's a possibility.
Like small.
Yeah, like really small, fire sagger, and so we'll see. We'll see.
Cool.
So that's me.
So I always tell this story about, I was like 5 or 6 when we first got public television, and there was this little movie about a boy that gets lost in the woods and sees a potter, and through the window, the potter invites him in and makes a bowl or makes him some vessel and says, come back in a week and this can be yours, but it might crack in the kiln. So I was completely stressed out. And so was the little boy, and he comes back and he has this beautiful thing. And ever since then, I've always wanted to be a potter. But I went in a different direction. I've had a lot of different jobs, and I ended up as an anthropologist and then working in public administration for 30 years. And my goal was to do ceramics when I retired. And my husband said, like the year before, we ran into a guy that was teaching classes in Culver City. Dan was like, why wait, start now. So that was in 2014. So this is about 10 years for me. And I've been taking classes all over the place. I've been taking a lot of workshops. Until just November, I was in my backyard outdoor canopy, and part-time in my garage. But I just decided kind of to go for it, and so I rented this studio space. And so here we are. And Wynn's my partner in crime in terms of using the space and working in the space, which makes me lucky because Wynn has expressed that his mission in life is to get me to fix my lids. So I make a lot of things with lids. This is sort of like, I'm always into, I'm a functional potter. I want things people can cook in and use and everything. But my lids are always a challenge. This is what I found. My lids shrink more than my bottoms. So that's a problem. Okay, so I have to make them really tight to begin with, and then trim them again when they're going dry. But then I have to leave room because I don't want to leave this unglazed because I think it looks ugly. Yes,
Yeah.
but then it's leaving enough room for the glaze, right? So that's one problem. My other problem is that they rock a little bit. We recently decided that the rocking may actually be that I distort the bottom of my carbon. So, because the lids it's a pretty good lid, right? By itself. So just in this last batch, I went ahead and I stuck a bowl in there when I'm carving it down to keep it round. So I'll let you know if that solves that problem.
Well, it makes you have a little bit of ventilation for the
Because the steam can escape.
Oh.
But the one thing that I have gotten better at, still not perfect, but I've gotten better at, and this drove me nuts, I know. You see this?
Yeah.
And you see this?
Oh, the art?
They slump.
They slump.
Oh.
They're slumping. And so, and while I don't
You
aesthetically,
mean this one?
no, this, see how, look at the two of them.
Yeah.
See? So, aesthetically, I don't want a big domy lid on these. I want sort of a flat lid, right? But I don't want this, right? So even this one is slumped a tiny little bit, but it's way better than that. So it's basically about sort of getting the curve on the inside, the arch on the inside, but not so much on the outside. So he goes over.
I'm not that picky at your pots.
Huh?
I mean, when we talk about them, but I don't go around after they come out of the kiln and do that.
No, but you went around the studio and he went around the gallery. He's like, I went around and looked at all the pots. And some of your lids are loose.
Well, we have this, it hasn't happened yet, but this appointment where I'm gonna sit down and throw her pots. Not for her, but as an experiment,
Right.
Oh,
to see if I can, how I
Do better.
envision
right, that's
the
a good
strategy of how you make those shapes differently than how she does. I know the lid, I throw the lids differently.
I got a solution. You put a groove in this and think that everybody thinks that you meant for it to
Well,
stop.
there's that. Honestly, the people that buy them don't even notice, right?
No.
But it drives me crazy, and it drives me crazy, so, and
Is it
this
the
is
way?
a, this is a much better looking
Yeah, it's a
profile
better.
than this, it's a better pot, and I wanna make better pots.
Is it the weight of the knob? What?
No, it's the curve.
Oh,
Yeah,
the
Any-
weight is?
And
Oh, because it's too much of a flat?
it's too flat. So
Oh.
she has a tendency to throw the bottom relatively flat and then curve it instead
Yes.
of it being like a Roman arch.
right,
Think of
That-
arches. You gotta learn to throw an arch. It's upside down when you're throwing it, but you're throwing the curve that it would take if it was spanning a river and you got a keystone in there.
Okay.
That's what you're creating.
it's an
And then it'll
engineering
hold, then it'll
problem,
hold itself up.
Okay.
it's an engineering
So,
problem.
so I have a question, because I have the same thought, but do the lids shrink more
Mine didn't.
sometimes, or I felt like one of mine did too, and I was like,
If it's
how
That
come?
doesn't make any sense
Doesn't make
unless
sense
it
to me either.
changes, something changes.
Well,
If
what
it
I-
slumps, does that take up some of the material and bring it in?
Well, it
I
could
would
spread
think it
it.
would spread it out.
Should
Spread
spread
it
it.
out?
I mean, I
Yeah,
would
I don't think it was spreading out. I think that the reason, and this is before they're even fired, that the lids are shrinking more than at the bottoms.
That makes no sense.
I think it's because there's less
I
clay.
was gonna say, does it have something to do with the mass
It's a
of
smaller
clay in the
piece.
bottom
It's a smaller
versus the
piece.
lid?
No.
I swear to God, they shrink more, they fit tight.
We're gonna do some measurement.
All right.
Measurements.
Yeah.
Because we don't know. I mean, I don't see how that's a possibility, but I
Does
could
it
be
make
wrong.
sense?
Well, if the clay is softer,
Yeah, I thought that
you
was
know.
hard too.
And whenever I make, so I use reclaim a lot, but whenever I make a lidded vessel, I make sure that both parts are from the same bag.
do you throw the lids?
I throw them at exactly the same time.
And, okay.
See, I pay attention to none of that, and
And
my
his
lid's
lids-
always good.
His lids are ridiculous. When you go look at them, they're just perfect.
Tight.
Yeah, they're just
So-
beautiful.
Like for instance, like this is something I heard someone say recently that makes sense, but I never thought of, and it didn't make sense. But if there's a way of thinking about it, doesn't make sense. Like how much your pot weighs when it's bisqued, it weighs exactly the same amount when it's fired.
Oh, really?
With glaze on.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Is it, how much shrinkage is there from bisque to
Yeah, that's-
fine? Very little,
so
right?
it varies from clay, but I use 15% as a round number, but clay shrink be like 12% to 16 or 17%. Some porcelains shrink a lot more.
But most of it is on the drying.
To me,
and the
about a
bisque.
third of it is the drying and 2/3 is the firing. Other people say 50-50,
Okay.
and it maybe depend on your clay. Porcelain,
But that's interesting, the weight is, you would think if it shrinks.
wouldn't it? Well, it's
Yeah.
the same volume, it's the same mass of clay particles.
It condenses.
It's just gotten denser.
Huh.
Yeah.
Just the water.
I wonder if paper clay would have a difference in the paper clay.
Well,
after
but
it's
bisque, after bisque, there's no water.
Right.
Oh, interesting.
So
the
it doesn't
shrinkage-
shrink that much, but how much of the shrinking is specifically between the bisque firing and the glaze firing?
I think it's close to 2/3.
You think that's between bisque and glaze?
It's 2/3 of that.
And that's what I've heard people say 50-50. I don't know, that'd be another
Yeah, well, I just
interesting measure.
observed that it's more, it's not as much going to bisque and then more going from bisque to.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
To glaze?
I've never done the
I thought it
measurements,
was the
it'd
other
be
way.
interesting to do.
Yeah, in my experience, I thought it was the other way around. And most of it, the drying seemed to take a bunch.
Yeah, the drying.
And then when you cook it in the bisque, from there to the glaze,
Well, to dry
it
to
didn't
bisque
seem like
doesn't,
much of a shrink.
dry to bisque doesn't shrink that much.
Right.
Dry to
You know,
bisque.
you know what sintering means?
Pardon?
Sintering, bisque is sintering. So sintering is imagine you've got a whole pile of ball bearings and they can do this, right? So you've got clay particles that are touching. And the edges that are touching, you're firing hot enough to make that spot melt enough to kind of glue it together, but you're not closing the holes.
Mm.
That's what bisque firing is doing. I don't know, in metallurgy or chemistry or something, it's called sintering.
Mm.
So you're not changing, once it's dry, you're
Yeah.
not changing the volume of it very much. The glaze firing is you're getting rid of all the air holes. It's gotta compress compress, but melt enough.
So it should shrink more in the glaze bath.
But drying is a lot.
Noticed that?
Well,
You never noticed that?
I haven't-
No, I showed my students
it
there's
does
this
too.
Instagram video and it's like, here's, wet clay, dry clay, this clay, and so it's about this big, then in here glazed one, and they bring out this big, it's a joke, right? But like, just to get that in their heads that like, it's gonna be a lot smaller than you think.
And the bigger the pot it is, the more dramatic and shocking it is.
Well, I had to make a series of bowls that were the same size, and so I measured them throughout the process, and when I measured the bone dry, I was shocked at how much it shrunk from when it was first thrown.
Remind me
Yeah.
during the break, I made two shrink rulers out of B-mix cone 5 and I have them there, so we can compare, we can see, we can literally lay them on the table with the actual ruler, with the bisque, and with the glaze. There's no glaze on it,
But that's from dry to glaze layer.
I have two. So I made one with wet clay that was 12 inches,
Yeah.
right? Then I made two with
Yeah.
that were 12 inches. Then I bisqued them both, and then I kept the
Oh, so
bisque
one's
out,
glaze and
and
one's
one's
high.
glazed.
Mm.
There's no glaze on it, but
Yeah.
it's cone vibe. So we can lay that out.
Well, the glaze is
Yeah.
making the glaze shrink more.
It's not.
No.
Yeah. So we'll take a look.
Yeah.
We take a break.
And it just clay to play.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
B-mix cone vibe.
Well, that's
We should
So-
tell everybody
So,
that the Terra Red isn't vitrified.
yeah, so this is not
does
related to lids, but, the absorption of clay affects, it's like food worthiness, really. And you can't count on what the manufacturer claims, it turns out. So do you know that the For Flux's Sake podcast? Yeah, it's worth it. Archie Gray Foundation does 3 or 4 pottery related podcasts. For Flux's Sake is one. It's about clay and glaze. And that couple, their company, which I can't remember right now, has a website. And on their website, they've been over the last year taking commercial clays and measuring their shrinkage and absorption at different temperatures. And like the Terra Red, it's like
It's
over
horrible.
3% absorption at
No, it was like 5.
What is that, what do you mean absorption?
if you put it in water and let it soak, how much water does it absorb? How much percentage of weight, how much weight percentage? So
It's not fully vitrified. So the
Oh,
bottom,
yeah.
so I will say this, that Aardvark does say it's 5%, and I just wasn't paying attention. Because I was making servingware with the Terra Red, and servingware should be under 2, right?
No, the government, the FDA says that any commercially, any ceramic ware that's gonna touch food should be under 0.5% absorption.
So that's what the absorption rate number means,
But is it dangerous to, is it,
after it's fired.
Well,
You're
it
right.
absorbs water, it absorbs
You're right.
bacteria, it absorbs,
Yeah, but your bugs, it's on the outside.
it's on the outside,
That's better.
yeah.
But I know, when I make a vase out of Terra Red, that glaze and everything has to be perfect, because a little pinhole will cause the whole thing.
Because it's
It's
not
water.
fully vitrified,
It's
yeah.
the
Because
vitrification,
of
it's not the
all
Because
glaze.
it's just a little pinhole in the glaze.
But we decided
Terra
that,
Red, so
It'll migrate.
If your glaze doesn't graze, it's fine.
and we've decided that like under 2 or 3 is the best we're gonna probably get, right?
Well, B-Mix, I
What
did
did
a
you get? You
B-Mix,
just
and
got
B-Mix
one.
was under 1%.
So he got under 1 of B-Mix. I stopped using Terra Red for functional stuff, and this clay order, I'm gonna go for 3 or less. I literally went through all of the red clays that were available from Laguna and Aardvark, and I picked 3 that I'm gonna try.
I tried, I'm on a box too, and it's not the same.
It's nothing's, the Terra Red is beautiful.
But my mugs are glazed in the inside and.
It says the glaze craze.
I understand that even if the glaze doesn't craze, it has nothing to do with the glaze. The moisture can still get through the glaze.
No.
I've been reading about that.
Don't know if
They
it's
say
glaze.
unless it's complete,
Even
it's
if
the
it's a little-
vitrification.
So is it dangerous?
It's the vitrification of the
Can
clay
we
that
talk-
prevents it, not the glaze.
Water doesn't go through.
I've been reading a lot of things about it lately, and they're talking about if it's vitrified, you're fine, but the glaze, it's gonna be minute, but you can still have some moisture that gets through.
Yeah, I don't like that. Maybe it's a temperature thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you know, it could be
Well, if you
condensation,
have
but I
a, if
mean,
you
I've
have a
got
Could be
pinhole
low temperature,
or.
Yeah, I mean, I've got
glazes, but-
moisture on the inside of my windows when the temperature
With
is.
glazed glass, you don't have to worry about
Yeah.
water leaking out of your glass crystal.
Right, right.
Yeah, but when we tell people things are dishwasher safe and they dishwash them,
Yeah.
and then after 8 months, the glaze is
moldy.
crazy, then you've got a problem,
Yeah.
I've been
because
using that for years.
I have too.
So Ellen, is it because there's always gonna be some raw clay at the foot or something where it would still?
No, it's, so far, nobody's paying attention to handmade pots, but they do check restaurant ware that's commercially sold. I mean, the company has to do tests and submit them, and occasionally somebody double checks things. You know, I'm sure it's like a government agency with not enough people to be on top of everything. But at some point, you know, somebody could say, why don't we check in the pottery world?
Yeah. My understanding too is that because whenever they have all the specs for your clay, you can look it up, like I've got the B-mix here, they have a percentage and then they say plus or minus, so it can be within
Well, that's your
whatever
temperature.
that plus or
It
minus.
says cone 5.6, that's the difference. I mean,
Yeah.
that'd be
But theoretically, the clay itself can be very different in different
Yeah,
batches, and
exactly.
so they also suggest that you make a test bar.
Which
When
we
you have a
did.
new-
We
When you
did.
have a new batch of clay,
So if you wanna have
test the
fun, you
absorption on
take a
it.
piece of clay and you whisk it, and you weigh it, and then you put it in water, and some people say boil for 3 hours, some people say 5 hours, so you can boil it a long time. You either let it cool in that water, or you can take it out and put it in cold water, but you don't take it out of the water because it's hot and the water will evaporate. So you get it to room temperature in water, take it out and use like a damp sponge to get water off the surface, and then you weigh the wet piece and you find
And that works out.
Lori, you pulled up the clay,
percentage.
and they're different,
Thanks.
things, so now I know what print rate is and I know what absorption rate is.
Yes.
But there are other readings in there too, that grout, it has a grout reading.
These are the ones we boiled. One was, I don't remember which.
There's
but
another one, I
yeah.
think.
Stacy, can you go over there?
That I never understood.
Anyway, it's just something to pay attention to.
It's not
And
great.
it's a bigger issue with cones 5.6 than it cones 10.
Yeah.
Because, you know, historically, there are no cone 5.6 pots made.
They're low
They're
fire.
lower temperature and there's higher temperature. There were the stoneware things that were made, like Stoke-on-Trent in England, and the whole Appalachian stuff were more like cone 8.
Well, if you have a plate and you are checking it, the bottom of the plate is vitrified, but there's no glaze on it.
The glaze doesn't matter in terms of water absorption.
So it's not different with just something that's bisque versus something that's glazed? It's the
You
same
can-
absorption?
The glaze has the same absorption. I've had porcelain plates that I bought from people that were colored clay that were like butter smooth with no glaze
Yeah.
to eat off of that didn't absorb water. So they don't absorb oil, so they don't absorb.
So when you're doing that test, it's the same for glaze as it is for,
Well, you test it without the glaze because you get an accurate
oh,
number.
you test it with the alcohol?
Yeah.
These are the ones
But
we
it-
tested.
But it's cone rate, like if it's cone 5.
Oh, okay.
1.6, 1.5. It didn't really make that much
Not
difference in terms of the
So
absorption.
you're testing it for the clay.
But
Yeah.
I always test different batches. I don't test every mug or bowl that I make, but every so often, even with combinations I'm familiar with, I fill it up with water, put it on a paper towel, and leave it overnight and see if it weeps or not. And if it's not weeping and I'm using Terra Red, then it means my glaze doesn't have a pinhole in it. But sometimes they weep.
I've got a Terra Red vase sitting on my counter right now with water in it, with a paper towel under it, just to make sure, because it,
Yeah, I've been doing that, I've been.
You could miss it.
Well, that's good then. So that means your glazes are fitting really nicely and they're not
Yeah, I did have certain problems, like with colonial white, sometimes the shrinkage is different,
An oatmeal, which looked, Laguna's oatmeal, not Anaca's, looked really beautiful on Terra Red. It got this really nice speckle. It wheat in like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It was so sad.
So we've had one major incident, like Barber, of a vase leaking on someone's handmade $3,000 cake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, making a big water spot, and in the end, kind of, what do we need, do we pay to get it fixed, do we whatever, she still knew the person, the woodworker that made it, they tried all the heated up, and tried the, all the recommended ways to reduce the white stain, and it wound up having to be that part refinished by the woodworker, and she finally said, no, let's just pay for it, it's fine.
Who paid for it? The customer?
The customer,
Oh, they said, never mind.
that they would take care of it, we said we'd pay for it.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
I don't know, my mom never let me put anything on the furniture without something under it.
Yeah, you kinda have to wonder, what else they've heard in their house by being parents.
That was a one-time thing, if it was more, it'd be a reason for us to have product insurance at the gallery, so
Oh, yeah.
that we could pay for that kind of thing.
I have it though.
Lauren, did you find out that?
So, okay, so for B-Mix, now you were asking about Ron, this is B-Mix without Ron. The SDS sheet, which is the basically material data safety sheet, it tells you what the cone is, the wet color is light gray, the firing color is in oxidation is cream, in reduction it's off-white, texture smooth, penetrometer target 6.75, average shrinkage 12%, but that's plus or minus 2%, so it could be 10, it could be 14.
Yeah.
And average water absorption, it says 2.3%, well, actually 1% plus or minus 2.3%, so it can be a large range, so testing it is pretty important. If
What
you-
was that second thing? Does anybody know what that means?
Which one?
After smooth or
Oh,
whatever?
the penetrometer,
Yeah, what is that?
target,
It's hardness.
yeah.
Oh,
What is that?
oh, they shoot a thing at it,
Yeah.
that where they have the little spiky thing and shoot it at it?
Yeah.
Oh, and it's resistant
Then
to
there's also the COE, which is the coefficient of expansion.
Yeah,
Um,
which is important for glaze fit, but.
yeah.
Okay, let's move on with Liz.
Do we want to, Wynn, do we want to take a break and
Does anybody want to
take a 5-minute break?
Take a break.